Good evening and good morning. Welcome to the Friday Study Circle, where these days we are going through the passages of the Sunlit path, where Mother has said that, don't take my words as mere words. They are forces in action. So aspiring and praying to receive the right forces, the higher forces, the expansion that these words have the potential to give me, aspiring for sincerity and suppleness to receive whatever it is that I am ready to receive now. Invoking Mother and Sri Aurobindo's presence and grace as we start this session. Thank you. So we have to start with the passage, if one has endurance. Last time we had taken up, never get discouraged. So if anybody is willing, they can please unmute and read the passage. Yeah.
If
Yeah,
one...
I shall read. Okay.
Oh, yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
If one has endurance, it will have beautiful experience and say, ah, now this is it. And then it settles down, diminishes, gets veiled, and suddenly something quite unexpected, absolutely commonplace, and apparently completely uninteresting comes before you and blocks your way. And then you say, ah, what is the good of having made this progress if it is going to start all over again? Why should I do it? I made an effort, I succeeded, achieved something, and now it is as if I had done nothing. It is indeed hopeless, for you have no endurance. If one has endurance, one says, it is all right, good, I shall begin again as often as necessary. 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times if necessary. I shall begin again. But I shall go to the end and nothing will have the power to stop me on the way. This is most necessary. Most necessary.
Thank you, Captain. It's about endurance. The endurance one needs to have as a seeker when it seems we are going against, our everything, our nature, our tendencies, our habits, and we fall, we fail, if you want to use the word, we fall down, we slip again and again. The Mother starts by saying that people have a beautiful experience and say, ah, now this is it. And then it settles down, diminishes, gets veiled. So we have all, I think, gone through this. And then, categorization start that, this is a special experience, but this is my real life. This is my regular life. What I read there is beautiful, but it is for there. What I'm living is here. My everyday issues, problems, fights, restlessnesses, confusions, they remain as is. So there's always a distinction when we begin. So that's what I see here. So then it settles down, diminishes, gets veiled, and suddenly something quite unexpected, absolutely commonplace, and apparently completely uninteresting comes before you and blocks your way. And then you say, what's the good of having made this progress if it's going to start all over again? Yeah. So it does start again and again and again and again. And, we have been covering this in the last few sessions, even, when there was this discussion happening. When we go in, there's so much we see. When we are out, there's so much darkness, so much that we see that we have to transcend. And it feels like, at times, it feels like one is going nowhere. But till this distinction is there between regular life and these special experiences, nothing much happens. And when it starts, that's the thing, right? We speak about practical. Make it in your life, let it flow in your life, let it, bring it to your everyday. Until then, it's just entertainment and just knowledge without any change in everyday is not of much value. So we keep judging, we keep feeling disappointed, we keep wondering what's wrong and why can't I do it and what's the point of doing it. Like as mother says, what's the good of having made this progress if it's going to start all over again? Why should I do it? I made an effort, I succeeded, achieved something, and now it's as if I had done nothing. It's indeed hopeless, for you have no endurance. The mother says, if one has endurance, it's all right. Good, I shall begin again as often as necessary, 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times if necessary. I shall begin again. But I shall go to the end, and nothing will have the power to stop me on the way. So it appears that, the hurdles, the challenges, one of the reasons why they are there is to build my endurance, to take me to that state where I stop feeling the defeat and just get up, and do it again and again. To have that certitude that come what may, I will go till the end. And I'm reminded of what Monica was sharing a few days back about, the cleaning, that when we have to clean our homes, we don't say that, oh, it has to be dusted again, cleaned again, the dishes get dirty again. We know it does get dirty and we clean it again and again and again and again without questioning it or feeling sad about the dirt. And the similar thing goes inside. Yeah, pausing, I've spoken too much, too fast. Welcoming more reflections if one has endurance.
There are those beautiful lines, in Savitri. He makes a fall from means for greater rise. So it is not just rise, it is a greater rise. I always found that very beautiful. Uh, so one should also remember that you're not just going back to the same place, because in a way it is showing you a defect that then makes you rise higher. That is how I see it.
Yes, thank you. But usually the cycle is that I'm shown a defect or I'm shown a weakness or I'm shown, anything, a habit which I know is not serving me again and again. So I don't stand up right away. I have my own processes, right, of blaming, of cursing, of complaining, of feeling bad, of wondering what's wrong with me. So all those storylines, how, I'm reminded of the diagram that mother had made, that this is the regular way and this is the path of yoga. So I get into the storylines and it takes me a lot of, this and that and what is wrong with me kind of a thing before I again come back on the line and say, okay, enough, what's next? Or, where do I go from there? So what mother is saying, it appears that if I can keep that in mind, my progression will be straighter, will be, more focused towards the goal rather than focused on me, my weaknesses, why is it happening to me? And yeah. So even yesterday's line, safe were those who kept God in their hearts. Again, it's tying up with this that because I have so much more and God had a small place, so I do reach there, but I also have to cross so many hurdles because there's so much I have to confront, accuse, blame, transcend again and again, again and again, or maybe that is the path. And yet there is a simpler, lighter, fast, I don't know about faster, but yeah, simpler and lighter and straighter path that is being given to us if we are ready to walk on it.
आई थिंक जहाँ पे इंड्योरेंस की बात होती है वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा मेरे को दिखता है ये भी है एस्पेक्ट ऑफ आई थिंक फॉलिंग इन लव विद द पाथ इज ऑल्सो देयर, क्योंकि इन लव वी एंड्योर ना, तब हम शिकायत नहीं करते हैं बार बार गिरने की, बिकॉज सो इफ आई हैव फॉलन इन लव विद दिस path that is unfolding in front of me, then actually it leads to that resilience and endurance, that one doesn't have a choice to turn back. It's like a choiceless going forward only. So in that, endurance comes as a, I feel, as a byproduct also. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite true. That's quite true. I feel there may be some sadness, I think, I don't know if it is like but there is not despair, so I think that is the distinction. Because once you have that joy of the, I mean, jo bhi you say love, and then yeah, there will be some sadness, अरे ये फिर से हो गया, whatever, but you will take it as something that is given to you as an opportunity. Say, okay, that is showing me something I have not yet fixed. So yes, I quite agree with that point.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It suddenly adds beauty to the whole process, which seems like uphill and mechanical and, as if it's a punishment. But I don't think it was ever intended to be a punishment. It's just the way we take things, it becomes a punishment, right? Like, yeah. And even, how I was reminded when you were talking, how Thai, he says that you just fall in love with your breath. And then, if you have to sit for hours, that's the best thing that you can do. But initially, till you fall in love with that breath, it's an effort. It's an effort. So, yeah, but if one knows that, okay, this is where, of course, the center, if it's not a struggle, if we keep it right, yeah, very beautiful. Thank you.
आई थिंक वही इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ चेंज ऑफ माई टेस्ट. जैसे पनिशमेंट की बात हो रही है, क्योंकि टाइम टू टाइम इट में अपीयर लाइक अ पनिशमेंट टू मी, बिकॉज माई ओल्ड टेस्ट्स आर एक्चुअली बैड टेस्ट्स, और उनकी मेरे को आदत लगी हुई है. अब जैसे when we talk about these vital relations in sadhana, when mother, in letters on yoga, there are so many letters responded by Sri Aurobindo, where he talks about these relationships and interactions and everything. So I feel that as an ordinary consciousness, these things of gossiping with each other, chatting with each other, they are our delight, they are our joy, no matter how lower pull they are giving us. We don't mind that, because कुछ तो है जो हमें जॉय देता है तो जहाँ पे वो डीपर जॉय, द ट्रू जॉय ऑफ प्रोग्रेस, ऑफ सेल्फ मास्टरी, जब तक वो नहीं है मेरे पास तो मुझे काम चलाऊ कुछ चाहिए, क्योंकि बिना डिलाइट के आई 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 कांट एग्जिस्ट। तो हमारा जो पुराना टेस्ट है जो सिर्फ ऐसी ही चीज़ों में डिलाइट लेता है, चिट चैट एंड नॉइज एंड ऑल दीज लोअर काइंड ऑफ एंटरटेनमेंट्स दैट वी हैव all of us for a long time, and then a point comes, then it's like one begins to have a distaste for those kind of entertainments. So एक हल्का सा एक, like you feel a repulsion, one can say, not very strong, but it's like something that I did which was not maybe ought to done, because one gets into this zone of remaining ingathered mostly. It's not that one is not interacting, but the just like the trivial interaction then falls away. So I feel that वो जो punishment वाली बात है वो मेरे old self को feel होती होगी, क्योंकि अभी तक नया पूरा मिला नहीं है और पुराना पूरा छूटा नहीं है, और पुराने में ही थोड़ा बहुत जॉय है जो मेरे पल्ले आता है तो in that sense it feels like a struggle in the beginning, but once the taste changes and as you were sharing that if I fall in love with the breath, so if I fall in love with having good time with myself in my own company, having a beautiful communion with the divine presence within, or cultivating good time passes for ourselves when we are with ourselves, I think then slowly as you were sharing that it actually begins to give us joy rather than feel like a punishment. But to my older self it would feel like a punishment. तो अगर बच्चे को लॉलीपॉप का एडिक्शन हो गया, उससे तुम छीन रहे हो लॉलीपॉप, तो उसको स्टार्टिंग में तो बुरा ही लगेगा कि मम्मी ने क्यों छीन ली, इतना तो मजा आ रहा था। बट देन स्लोली, अभी तक उसको वो पता नहीं लगा है कि कहाँ पे वो सारी एनर्जीज चैनलाइज होनी है। द मोमेंट ही गेट्स टू नो वेयर ऑल दीज एनर्जीज हैज टू बी चैनलाइज्ड, then he actually doesn't even want to come back to the lollipop, because that new progress or new cultivation gives him joy. So हमारे साथ भी I feel यही होता है कि जब पुरानी लॉलीपॉप्स छूट रही होती है तो थोड़ा दुख होता है, बट वो पुराने बीइंग को होता है, बट that is creating more space for something new to come, something higher to come, for which maybe I am ready. That's why the circumstances are happening in such a way that I'm compelled to leave my bad tastes. एंड स्टार्टिंग में जब कोई इंस्ट्रूमेंट भी जैसे सीख रहे होते हैं, जैसे हम गिटार की बात करते हैं, कोई भी तबला ले लो, कुछ भी ले लो, तो उसमें भी पूरा ट्यून थोड़ी ना निकलती है। इट्स लाइक यू आर स्ट्रगलिंग वेरी हार्ड। जब वोकल सीखने की कोशिश करते हैं तो गला भी खुला नहीं होता है, आपका सा लगा रहे हो लेकिन लग कोई और धुन रहा है, नोट रहा है। तो स्टार्टिंग में वी ऑल स्ट्रगल, बट वंस वी बिगिन टू हैव अ जॉय इन दैट प्रोसेस ऑफ मास्टरिंग अवर वॉइस और मास्टरिंग दैट इंस्ट्रूमेंट, और that then those errors they don't feel like why are they there, then we are ready to transcend those errors, because progress, as mother says, progress brings joy, so then one has true joy. हाँ, अब पुराना छूट सकता है, मतलब कहने का मतलब है कि वो पुराना छोड़ने में थोड़ा इट्स अ स्ट्रगल, क्योंकि नया जॉय अभी मिला नहीं है और पुराना अभी पूरी तरह से गया नहीं है या भेजना नहीं चाह रहे पीछे की तरफ। तो I feel that there is, and in Savitri also there are these lines, an absolute supernatural darkness sometimes falls upon man when he draws close to God. So वही है कि अभी पूरी लाइट मिली नहीं है, बट आपको जो नोन है, फेमिलियर है, वो पीछे छोड़ना पड़ रहा है, तो फिर वो एक स्ट्रगल वाला फेज होता है बीच का।
I also feel that for me, the punishment aspect, that why it's so hard and the frustration and all of this happens when my aspiration is not true or sincere. When I'm although saying it from outside that okay, I want to have like I want to become an instrument of the divine, or really know the divine will, but my inner being does not want it. The aspiration is not correct, and that is why continuously, whenever whatever the divine, because divine is so compassionate, And even if in our forgetfulness we say, we want to, we want to know the divine will, we want to come towards you, he or she will make way for us. But because we're not ready, because our aspiration is not right, it's feeling like a punishment because we are not sincere. So, for me, I just say that sometimes maybe I need to really check when things are not going my way and there's so much pain, then I should really sit down and ask myself, am I really sincere of saying that I really want to, know the divine will? Because when it's happening, I am crying. So what he'll do? He can't. He's like a rabbit, like a bird. I think in Alugda, one of the facts he was saying that a bird which is stuck, a kabutar, he said, a pigeon. He's stuck in that thorny bush, and he's literally, so much in pain. And imagine the intervention. What if you want to help him? Of course, he will try, but he won't tadpadaega, he will, flap his wings. He's so uneasy. He doesn't have trust that somebody is actually saving. So how would he be saved? So I think it's exactly like that. That we want to get out of it. Like for me at least, I want to get out of it, but the same time when divine is actually doing something, I'm always slapping my wing and saying, no, 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 I really want to, like Monica was saying, I want to be in that whole group. Like so much compassion he has. Like imagine, like I am saying this every day, and then when he's trying to do it, I would, cry and say, oh my God, you're punishing me. Why did you do this to me? So I was just saying that maybe it's about just really sitting down and asking ourselves, are we really sincere? Do we really want what we are saying? Because most of the times we don't. Like I at least don't, I feel. So the work is on ourselves to make us sincere, be sincere, ask for even that. Like sometimes I say that I ask you, but I still don't want it. So you please help me with this. I think that as well. And then so people have seen the punishment that I would think, my God, ऐसा हो गया इसके साथ. Sometimes the judging mind would say that, and some people would take it as grace. Like sometimes I always wonder Ramdas, always smiling at his deformed body in so much. I still can't think that somebody could say this is a stroke of grace. And I say his stroke, completely deformed body in so much pain, laughing, like saying that this is a stroke of grace from Maharaji. Like that's what I think that look, that is the aspiration to get. There's so many other examples, but yeah, just that I thought.
I think to be fully sincere हमें time लगता है, and we have to just become accustomed to the fact that actually it takes time. And mother talks about sincerity, that like when she talks about the acme of sincerity, she says that to know that one is trying to be best sincere that one is, and then one also knows that अभी तो बहुत बचा है, अभी तो बहुत जगह insincerity है, तो वो भी दिख रहा है. So I think to be fully sincere actually takes a very long time, because on one level I may say that I want nothing but the divine, but all my rest of the parts are craving for something else. So सावित्री में एक वो दो लाइंस हैं जो काफ़ी फेमस सी लाइंस हैं, a limping yes through the aeons journeys still accompanied by an eternal no. तो limping yes कि हाँ चाहिए 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 और eternal no, मतलब कोई एक है ना, एक strong resistance हमारे अंदर कुछ एक बैठा हुआ है जो eternally वो उसको no ही बोलता है. So we have a mix of sincerity and insincerity, right? And it takes a lot of time, and we have to be very patient with ourselves that we really want to be sincere, and we can see that there are lots of insincerities still, that as you were sharing, that one thinks that one aspires, but actually the aspiration is not integral aspiration. Every part of the being is not aspiring. So वो धीरे धीरे, I think it's वही है, थोड़ा time taking process है. With matter and material things, everything is time taking. So we have to just be very kind. And as we were talking about perseverance and endurance, तो endurance तो वहाँ पे चाहिए ही चाहिए, क्योंकि अपने प्रति एक kindness का भाव भी होना चाहिए. One has to be firm, disciplined, and yet kind also, because it's not like Kabir ji says, धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए, माली सींचे 100 घड़ा ऋतु आए फल होए. तो ये अब एक तरफ से हम इस पे अब डाउट कर सकते हैं कि एक तरफ से कबीर जी कह रहे हैं कि अरे जागो, अभी के अभी जागो, क्या वेस्ट कर रहे हो अपनी लाइफ, यू नो, सो मेनी कपलेट्स आर लाइक दैट, चेत सके तो चेत, क्या सोए जा रहा है तू, यू नो। और एक तरफ से कह रहे हैं धीरे धीरे रे मना, धीरे सब कुछ होए। तो ये बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग सी चीज है कि चेतने के लिए उसको कह रहे हैं जो बिल्कुल स्लीप में है, बट जो जाग गया है, जो अपने ऊपर काम कर रहा है, यू नो, रिलेटिव डिग्री पे, उसको कहने भैया आराम से, है ना, इतनी जल्दी भी नहीं होने वाला सब कुछ। तो हैव फेथ, हैव परसिवरेंस, हैव एंड्योरेंस, एंड थिंग्स विल हैपन।
Yeah, and specifically at the, with what the passage was saying, the aspect that you spoke about patience. Somehow, there is this, and we have touched this before, that there is this misconception, or I don't know how we have this, that if I've understood, that means it's done. And yet, repeatedly, when you see, oh, it's not done, oh, it's not done, oh, I still lack, I still lack, I still lack. So that aspect also feels like a punishment कि जब समझ आ गया है तो हो क्यों नहीं रहा, like, so those confusions, those whatever, those, veils, those, so that aspect also, it's like, again, say, I remember, my sister used to say this, that, when she was in grade one, she would look at children from, grade 11, grade 12, class 11, class 12, and would think कि कब होगा, मतलब, it seems so far, इस school कब खत्म होगा. And yet, like, for an adult, it's like, oh, the school life went like this, kind of like, but imagine the years that went into it. But when it comes to these, I don't know, this thing, these letting go of things that we are holding on to for so long, something in one feels कि, okay, I'm sincere, check, I'm honest, check, I see, check, done, check. But no, not check. So that aspect also, one has to kind of look at it and let go that, my timelines, my expectations are what are making it feel like, a punishment. And then that Kabirji's doha, that, yeah, just stay at it, be with it.
Yeah, I think this check thing is very interesting because गेम वही की वही पुरानी चल रही है. तो the idea is that we actually transcend this limited categorical mind which always tries to form categories. So what you were sharing कि मेरा हो गया, sincere, हाँ वो तो मेरा हो गया, हाँ aspiration, हाँ वो भी check, what you were sharing. तो इसमें ये इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है कि एज कबीर जी सेज दैट मन को मृतक जान के मत कीजिए विश्वास, साधु तब तक भय करे जब तक पिंजर में सांस. So जब तक I have breath in the body, this categorical mind which tries to divide every time, put categories कि मेरा हो गया, I am uplifted from those others who are striving. तो ये जो categories बन जाती है ना mind, I think they also give a lot of frustration. We don't realize because we are not mindful that we are actually continually forming categories. अगर आप 20 साल से साधना में हैं तो आपने, मानो या ना मानो, whether you admit it or not actually, and if we are not mindful, by default this category exists in my mind that I am the one, 20 साल, अच्छा अभी अभी आए हो आप श्री औरोबिंदो मदर के पास अभी अभी आई हो. So that kind of categorization this mind forms. And then if I fall again and if I catch myself falling, then it hurts. क्योंकि आप कहीं ना कहीं कैटेगरी बना चुके थे कि अरे मेरा तो हो गया था, अब इतना शेमफुल एक्सपीरियंस मुझे निकलना पड़ रहा है इससे. While if I am not formed categories and I have let go of others categories also, I think that is true kindness to ourselves and others, because there is no need for frustration when I am not forming categories. क्योंकि उसमें ना shame की बात है ना enduring की बात है. Enduring और उसकी बात तब आती है जब मैं, जैसे मुझे किसी ने राजगद्दी से गिरा दिया और मेरे को नीचे, है ना, नीचे खड़ा कर दिया. तो पहली बात तो ये है कि मैं राजगद्दी पे चढ़ी कब. ये क्वेश्चन हमें, वी हैव टू आस्क, व्हाई इज इट सो फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग, दिस इज लाइफ. सो आई फील दैट एट टाइम्स व्हेन वी हैव हायर थॉट्स अबाउट अवर सेल्व्स कि मेरा हो चुका है और आई हैव रीच्ड दिस लेवल, हाँ ये वाली सिद्धि मुझे मिल गई, सिद्धि नॉट रियली सिद्धि, वी मे नॉट से दैट वे, but I have had that experience in meditation and I can sit for 1 hour. So when these categories are forming and we are not mindful of our mind space, then when next time that fall happens, then it hurts badly and I feel frustrated कि मेरा कब होगा, मुझे तो लग रहा था मेरा हो गया. So to know that it's a very long time taking process और किसी का भी नहीं हुआ, सबका अलग अलग लेवल पे सब कुछ हो रहा है, क्योंकि इतनी उलझी हुई हैं चीजें that if it was a very small process of black and white, why would so many avatars have to come, so many yugas and so many vedantas and scriptures and again upanishads पे upanishads लिखे जा रहे हैं, knowing that it is a time taking process. So I think that is utter kindness to ourselves if we stop making categories based on how much we have read, like we were listening to the bhajan, माँ ले लो ये ज्ञान तुम्हारा, ले लो ये अज्ञान तुम्हारा, so just getting rid of that burden of knowledge that we carry, burden of experience that we carry, that my journey with the mother started 20 years ago, I have read so much, so whether we talk about it or not, we have to know that by default these categories are forming. And that is what mindfulness is, that I am aware of this mind space and rejecting all this garbage that keeps collecting in the mind. Otherwise, by default, तो इसने होना ही होना है if I am not mindful. And then there is no point for frustration. जब राजगद्दी पे बिठाया ही नहीं अपने आप को कभी, तो फिर नौकर चाकर बनने में अब क्या प्रॉब्लम है? कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. Knowing that progress is happening through each and every bit of this existence, whether on the राजगद्दी or not. और फिर हम दूसरों को भी बिठाते हैं राजगद्दी पे, ना खुद बैठते हैं, एक्चुअली में दूसरों को बिठाते हैं, और फिर वो ऐसी कोई हरकत करते हैं ना जो हमारे हिसाब से ठीक नहीं होती, फिर हम उनको गिरा देते हैं कि अरे इससे तो ये एक्सपेक्ट ही नहीं किया था ये. It's very interesting how the mind functions, and we think that we are doing our bit, but actually it's just in our thoughts that we are doing, but we are just immersing ourselves in thoughts, and there is hardly any stillness in the being. Chatter, 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 continuously, and plus believing in that chatter, not even knowing that I am believing in all that chatter. And that is where I think Buddhism helps so much with the taming of the mind. Otherwise, I don't know, just
I think also the point that was mentioned earlier, that you know the joy is the joy of progress, not the joy of staying at one level, whatever that level may be. So, you know, Mother talks about, like, the devas, they are non-evolutionary beings, but they're at the same level. Why is and I think Kabir also has said, human so precious. But even the gods aspire for it, because it is the only way you can progress. That is something so beautiful given to us, but that is where the joy is. So it does not matter really, as I think was so beautifully stated, about one is more senior or junior or whatever. It makes very little difference, no difference. But it is the joy of, I think that's Monica, you just said, the self mastery. That is the you're playing a game and then you're having joy in that. You know.
Yeah, this part over here, this one. What's the good of having, thank you, made this progress if it's going to start all over again? Why should I do it? I made an effort. I succeeded, achieved something. Now it's as if I have done nothing. Indeed, hopeless. So I am just wondering and just like sharing that reflection that's why, where we were talking of this aspect of mastering ourselves and progressing through our weaknesses and transcending, having the joy in that self mastery and, this inner whatever exploration and an experimentation that is going on all the time. So if I really truly, I'm just wondering, because when I am in love with anything, it may be kind of a, a relationship, it may be an instrument that I've fallen in love with, it may be an aspect of life, then actually I see that I don't mind anything. We stop to mind in love. And एक छोटी, I think the best example that can be taken here is of a mother and a child. That's a beautiful example nature has given us, because no matter how much effort mother has to do on that child to take care and nurture that child, the mother actually tirelessly works on that child. She would not say कि अरे क्या फायदा, अरे मैं 5 दिन तो काम कर चुकी, छठे दिन फिर से रिवर्स हो जाता है, तो अब मैं करूँ ही क्यों? No. Mother would never say that. So I think there we have a reflection of a kind of a, not really unconditional because it's my child I'm working on, but relatively, a kind of a selfless working on one aspect where you tirelessly can give yourself for the benefit of other and not minding. यहाँ पे हम माइंड भी नहीं कर सकते, बच्चा आपको कितनी गालियां दे रहा हो, गंदी मम्मी, क्रूअल मम्मी, आप माइंड ही नहीं करते क्योंकि आपको पता है वो तो अपनी हट में कह रहा है, इग्नोरेंस वॉट एवर, वेयर एवर ही इज राइट नाउ, वहां से कह रहा है मुझे पता है अभी इसके लिए, एज अ मदर वी नो दैट, से फॉर एग्जाम्पल टू मच स्वीट्स आर नॉट गुड फॉर अ चाइल्ड, दीज लिटिल लिटिल थिंग्स, इतना तो हमें पता है, ज़्यादा बड़ी बातें नहीं पता होंगी बट इतना तो हमें पता लगता है अपने लिए भी दूसरों के लिए भी. सो there we don't give up. So this giving up aspect, I was just wondering that whenever there is this giving up aspect, there is like, I feel that there is lack of love, because then I would easily give up कि चल छोड़ना, अगर नहीं बन रहा तो separate ways. But when there is this aspect of a deep bond, so if I am in love with this inner experimentation with myself, working on myself, and what we were all sharing, that if one begins to have a delight in looking at one's weaknesses and transcending them, and no matter falling, but then again rising them, rising above them. So if one develops a good taste, which is a taste for of love towards this progress, then I don't mind. All the falls are welcome, all the blows are welcome, all the challenges are welcome, all the insults and humiliations are welcome, because I know they are leading me above my weaknesses and imperfections. So I think this aspect of love, like it's like a true friendship with my own self that I am developing, a true kind of a love for myself, because wherever there is love, there is courage, there is endurance, there is growth. Yeah, so I was just exploring that I would not give up when there is an aspect of love, but when love is lacking, there I may easily get frustrated or give up. So maybe I lack at times. If I fall in that space, it means I lack in that kind of a love for progress for my own being.
Yeah, and relating this with what you were sharing before, that how, those categories, those check marks, we have again and again heard that you do not have the skills to determine what is forward, what is back, because this is not a linear progression, right? Like, so you don't even know what you are judging. So here too, when one feels okay, I've given up, or मेरे से हो नहीं रहा, या nothing seems to be moving, you don't know what's moving or what you did. even Jet Sunmala in her book Cave in the Snow, I remember sharing that, she would do certain practices and then she would share with her Lama that, this happened, and he would like, yeah, yeah, keep going, keep going. And then she would just share something absolutely trivial according to her. And he was like, yes, now this is what, now you do this. So, like, knowing that again and again, again and again, because, in life we have very well defined things according to us, like, like the progression of a human according to us, a child, a thing, everything is so categorical that it's so hard to keep pulling oneself back from the categories of ye acha, ye bura, right? Like good, bad, high, low, forward, backward, spiritual, non-spiritual, ethical, non-ethical. So it's just like, again, we speak about dualities, but it's like it seems endless that unless you just come back and that's it, because they get to you. It's like when you start seeing that how it's just pulling you and tugging you in different directions, and all directions are not leading me anywhere. Like they're just directions, unnecessary directions and distractions. And then like one you often share that, change the floor, you have to change the floor there. It's the things are not possible because being who I am, it's full of categories and dualities. And how do I not judge? And if I judge, how do I not feel bad? And yeah.
Yeah, I think very important. This duality part is also, I think, it's like I have a blindness for dualities. I've seen that, like now, how many times have I read the eight worldly concerns, these dualities that we are stuck in? So, wanting pleasure, not wanting pain, wanting, running towards gain, not wanting loss. So, four ho gayi. Then wanting name, not wanting dejection or infamy, and wanting to be approved, or wanting respect and not wanting to be disrespected. So we will see that whenever we are frustrated, we are actually stuck in these eight concerns. अब वो अलग बात है, उसको मैंने एक स्पिरिचुअल गार्ब दे दिया कि अच्छा अब मैं स्पिरिचुअल पाथ पे हूँ, बात वही हो रही है, आई एम गेटिंग फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, तो कहीं ना कहीं मैं कुछ चाह रही हूँ और किसी चीज से मैं भाग रही हूँ. So I think we are so, and I have seen this with myself, that as if there is a curtain of haze which doesn't let me see that I'm stuck in the same game. मुझे लग रहा है game change हो रही है, but it's the same game. Earlier I was in worldly so-called things. I was again, wanting to run away from pain and wanting pleasure. Okay, that did not happen. Now you enter into spiritual life, so-called, if both of them are different. But if you enter into this so-called spiritual life, there also the same game is happening. Wanting that nice experience and not wanting the chaos or clutter or whatever. So main चीज वही हो रही है कि because of my ignorance I am either getting attracted or I am getting aversive. So three again, 8 worldly concerns and 3 poisons: ignorance, attraction and aversion. और उसी में मैं गोल मैं घूमे जा रही हूँ और मुझे लग रहा है गेम चेंज हो रही है. So I feel that for a long time, I keep like a frog, jumping in the same well, thinking that I am exploring maybe the whole world. So the kind of, the opening or a hole into the other dimension can come for us. That is why these teachings by Thich Nhat Hanh or other masters are so precious, because they give us a portal into the here and now, right now. And in right now we can deal with everything. We can deal with our pleasure, we can deal with our pain, we can go through disrespect, we can deal with respect also, and not get uplifted. So mindfulness, I think, it's like a, and in Savitri there is one line, and I think it's referring to the breath. It's like a fragile thread or something that Sri Aurobindo refers. I have to go back to it again to see what exactly is the context, but it's very beautiful that he says this fragile, as if connect, which is as if a portal into a different dimension. It's like the here and now. अदरवाइज वो सेम गेम रिपीट हो रही है. इफ आई एम नॉट इन द हियर एंड नाउ, देन same game is getting repeated in different garbs, different garbs. And if I'm in the here and now, I can go through everything in life, everything, no matter how challenging. So these precious teachings are, I feel, very very helpful, because कितना भी हम पढ़ लेते हैं, हम प्रेजेंट में रहना भूल जाते हैं. हमने लाइफ डिवाइन पढ़ ली होगी, हमने सावित्री पढ़ ली होगी, लेकिन हम भूल जाते हैं कि अरे प्रेजेंट नो अपनी थॉट्स में, बिकॉज वो दिखती नहीं है, तो इतना ज़्यादा उसमें लॉस्ट हो जाते हैं कि पता भी नहीं लगता कि हम अपने स्टोरी लाइंस में रह रहे हैं, एक्चुअली प्रेजेंट में नहीं है. Yeah, so I just wanted to pluck out that duality part that you had shared. That, yeah, I'm just running, goal, like an hamster on the wheel. Yeah.
And even the lines that you shared, from today's bhajan, ye malo, agyan tumhara, gyan tumhara, paap tumhara, punya tumhara. So wo bhi, it's kind of trying to step back, right? Because with me, it's huge, right? This is paap, this is punya, this is gyan, this is agyan, like almost like a fire burning in within to distinguish कि ये वो है मुझे यहाँ जाना है मुझे वहाँ नहीं जाना मतलब again so much. And then here it is that, this is also yours, that is also yours. And yeah, so yeah, Nandini had shared something. Nandini, would you want to unmute and share it, or should I read it?
You can read it, but I just, what Monica was saying, I thought of sharing this, came to my head. A beautiful line.
Yeah, so Nandini has shared on the chat from Thich Nhat Hanh that sometimes we think that we are superior to others, perhaps more educated or intelligent. Seeing an uneducated person, a feeling of disdain may arise, but this attitude does not help anyone. Our knowledge is relative and limited. An orchid, for example, knows how to produce noble, symmetrical flowers, and a snail knows how to make a beautiful, well proportioned shell. Compared with this kind of knowledge, our knowledge is not worth boasting about, even if we have a PhD. We should bow deeply before the orchid and the snail and join our palms reverently before the monarch butterfly and magnolia tree, feeling respect for all species of living beings and inanimate objects will help us recognize the Buddha nature in ourselves. Yeah, thank you, Nandini, for sharing that. It's beautiful and very factual. Yeah. Any reflections on the passage or what we were sharing? So I think I'll just read the passage once more time and then we'll end and we'll take up the next passage, Pay the Price, next time. So the title is If One Has Endurance. Mother says, people have a beautiful experience and say, now this is it. And then it settles down, diminishes, gets veiled, and suddenly something quite unexpected, absolutely commonplace, and apparently completely uninteresting comes before you and blocks your way. And then you say, what's the good of having made this progress if it's going to start all over again? Why should I do it? I made an effort, I succeeded, achieved something, and now it's as if I had done nothing. it's indeed hopeless, for you have no endurance. If one has endurance, one says, it's all right, good, I shall begin again as often as necessary. 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times if necessary, I shall begin again. But I shall go to the end, and nothing will have the power to stop me on the way. This is most necessary, most necessary. This line, it's all right, good, I shall begin again as often as necessary. It takes a lot of, again, let's say Kabirji says Surma or, the Aryan. Otherwise, it's very hard to say this with happiness that it's all right, good, I shall begin again. Because, yeah, again, because of the categories and कि कितने effort से कितना आएगा और अब तक तो मुझे वहां पहुंच जाना चाहिए था. It keeps holding us back. So the failure, it hits, right? Yeah.
एक
This line's
मुझे yeah, go ahead, Nandini.
Yeah, I was just saying that these lines exactly brought to light what Karu recommended a movie in one of the sessions that I watched of a 62-year-old woman who swam across to USA and a place and she was 62 in the ocean, Olympics swimmer or something like that. And how many times she failed? 5 times. She nearly died once, and all the time everybody gave up on her. But she was so filled with this fact that I do cannot die like an ordinary person. Like this life cannot remain so ordinary. I want to live up to that passion, and it's so true how she that whole movie. It's so true that even that kind of a passion that even if I die, I'm ready to die, but I will not stop. That perseverance. So for me, that movie really, I would recommend people who would like to watch it. You actually feel that what all we can achieve, even at the age of 62, till it's time to retire and sit back down. How people can, through human endurance, make miracles and can actually do what we can never imagine. So just thought about that.
Yeah, this reminds me of that Sri Aurobindo talks about the significance of Arya. So I thought before we end, we can just go through that passage. Here he shares who is an Aryan. And this paragraph, since it's about that endurance and all that, maybe we can read. For all of us, it is written. Yeah. So he's talking about the significance of the word Arya. And he says, this sense of the word also we may accept. We fight to win sublime wisdom. Therefore, men call us warriors. And here, now I think this is very beautiful because he talks that every moment we have a choice and we have to exercise that choice. For wisdom implies the choice as well as knowledge of that which is the best, noblest, most luminous, most divine. So this choice we have every moment. Certainly, it means also the knowledge of all things and charity and reverence for all things, which we were reading actually in Thich Nhat Hanh's message, that to bow down to a flower or a magnolia, what you were reading. So knowledge of all things and charity and reverence for all things, even the most apparently mean, ugly or dark, for the sake of the universal deity who chooses to dwell equally in all. But also, the law of right action is a choice. The preference of that which expresses the Godhead to that which conceals it. So this, I feel, it's like, crux. Ki every moment I have a choice. No matter how many sins and bad things I may have done in the past, how many times I may have failed. But each new moment I have a choice, in which I can undo what I have been doing blindly. So he says, but also the law of right action is a choice, the preference of that which expresses the Godhead to that which conceals it. So in each moment, I can ask myself the step that I'm going to take, or the decision I'm going to take, the word that I'm going to speak out or think or feel. Is it going to expand my Godhead? Is it going to unmask it, or is it going to suffocate it? So, and the choice entails a battle. So we were talking about our struggles and getting frustrated, all that. And the choice entails a battle, a struggle. It is not easily made, it is not easily enforced. Whoever makes that choice, whoever seeks to climb from level to level up the hill of the divine, fearing nothing, deterred by no retardation or defeat, shrinking from no vastness because it is too vast for his intelligence, no height because it is too high for his spirit, no greatness because it is too great for his force and courage. He is the Aryan, the divine fighter and victor, the noble man, Aristos, best, the Shrestha of the Gita. And again, he elaborates this further. But I feel these two paragraphs resonated very well with what we have read today, that each moment is kind of a choice, it's a struggle, and there are failures, but never ending endurance is required. And we all are warriors. We have this portion of divine in us which makes us that warrior. So we can't say that, oh, that person is more of a warrior than me. It's not like right. We all are born warriors. So we just have to exercise that choice and make that uphill climb, fearing nothing, deterred by no retardation or defeat. Yeah. Yeah, so if there are any last comments, we can take, and if not, we can do the closing dedication. Okay, so let's take a moment of silence to share, dedicate all the goodness and merit, individual, collective. May we all be able to make that choice each moment of our life, the right choice. No matter how much we have to struggle, may we be able to make as many times as possible, more and more in increasing degree, that right choice that reveals the Godhead within. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.